The New York window has closed. It closed Thursday at 12 a.m. And a lot of allegations here. We got Jamie Foxx, Axl Rose, Cuba Gooding Jr., and, P. Diddy, I think it was 3 lawsuits in 1 month? In 1 month, it was 3 lawsuits for P. Diddy. I've been talking about this for a very long time when it comes to music industry cover-up of SA. And when I was protesting in the streets every Thursday, there were a lot of people that kind of rolled their eyes at me, to be quite honest with you. Thought that it was some type of conspiracy and, didn't really hear what I was saying. And with this New York window, this look back window happening, we really got to see and hear from a lot of survivors when it comes to this cover up. Specifically Cassie. I'm going to go into a little bit about this 5 layers of what survivors have to go through. And I really want to show allies here. I want to show survivors here the steps that it's going to take. And let me tell you, these are not easy steps. Down at the bottom here, we obviously have survivors. Then you go 1 step up and you got the enablers. Then above the enablers, you got the alleged predators. And then above the alleged predators, you got media. And then above the media, you got the lawyers. And then above the lawyers, you got the institutions. And that's really the head of the cover-up. And this is the trickle-down effect. So the cover-up starts at the top within the institutions. And then as you go down, this is really the control that these institutions have on these tiers. So when it comes to lawyers, for example, these institutions are able to hire crazy, really impressive law firms that have so much skill, have so many lawyers, paralegals, etc. And because they have all the funds, they're able to work around the clock. Where a survivor, for example, or even a media outlet does not. And even the alleged predator might not have the same funds to really hire some type of lawyer to work around the clock, but the institution does. And so you get these lawyers that know every single way to get around the law, manipulate the law. For example, let's say an alleged predator gets accusations. Let's say some survivors come forward about so-and-so. Then what ends up happening is the media gets word of these allegations, and what do they have to do? Instead of getting to the institution above, they're going to have to reach out to the lawyers underneath for comment. And a lot of the time, they send back 20-page letters to intimidate these media outlets to not publishing certain things. Even if they're in public court documents, they will find a way to intimidate the media outlets out of certain things. And they do it usually through multiple different ways. One of them being this media circuit will not be able to get access to exclusives from the other lawyers' clients. And they'll basically say, if you put this in there, I'm not giving you an exclusive for blah, blah, blah. Or I'm not going to give you, first comment for blah, blah, blah. And these media outlets, they rely on advertisement, on clickbait, on stories, as much content as possible at all times. And when they get word that content might be lost, they sometimes will just say, okay. They'll get the things that they want to get in there, and then they'll leave out the things that the lawyer intimidated them out of. And it's very important for people to understand this. The survivor here at the bottom, we don't have all of this power. We don't got the institution on our side. We don't really got the lawyers on our side. We kind of now have a little bit more media on our side, but really they're just, trauma baiting and trying to make money off of our trauma. I don't know if that necessarily means they're allies, but they've realized that this brings ad revenue, brings clicks, etc. And so they're allowing survivor stories to come out. The alleged predator is someone we are directly facing. And then you get the enablers. And the enablers, They think they're just protecting the alleged predator. And this is what I want to explain to fandom out there. You think you're protecting just the alleged predator. You're protecting these media outlets that exploit survivor stories. You're protecting these law firms. And then at the top, you're really protecting the institutions that make all of the money from the alleged predator. Now, when it comes to media, a lot of these alleged predators are able to hire these very high-profile PR agents. Public relations used to be just propaganda. Actually, the person who did that was a man named Edward Bernays. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. When propaganda got a bad name from Nazi Germany, he thought, like a true press person, we're going to have to rebrand propaganda. Here's Edward Bernays, by the way, everybody. Here's Edward Bernays. We think what we're reading, online, etc., when it comes from these PR agents, that, yeah, they're just doing their job, sure. But a lot of these PR agents are saying very, very harmful, defamatory things about survivors. And sometimes they're not just paid by the alleged predator, but they're also paid by the institution. And so they're not only just protecting the client that is the alleged predator, but they're protecting the institution. Because if they have to say goodbye to one of their artists that got called out for being an alleged predator, that's a loss of money for them. So it's a whole thing to protect the money. And a lot of these individuals, lawyers, alleged predators, media, etc., like to say that survivors are out for money. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of alleged predators won't admit to their wrongs is because they were groomed by society to protect their money. And so the reason for deny is really rooted in money. And I think men specifically have been really groomed by the patriarchy to think that it's more important to protect their property than it is to be held accountable for their actions and change. So PR, public relations, came from propaganda. And I do want to break this down in this quick little way here. When it came to Edward Bernays, one of his things that he's most known for was the Torches for Freedom. And it says here, Bernays made his name working for the tobacco companies with the campaign Torches for Freedom. In the first wave of feminism, cigarettes were a hot topic. Smoking was something for men. Cigarettes became a sign of equality and emancipation. The watershed moment came in March 1929 on Easter Sunday in New York City. Bernays hired women to march in this parade, smoking like steam-powered one trains, and it worked. It was a significant moment for greater equality for women, and Bernays made a killing. You think he's doing this great thing, right? Equality for women, women being able to smoke, torches of freedom, blah, blah, blah. He was being paid by the tobacco company, by the tobacco industry. So you think they're doing something good, but they're really hired to do that by the bad guys, and the intention is not good. It's more money. And when you look at a lot of these PR agents that speak out against the survivors, you read it and you're like, wow, that was pretty cruel, that was pretty mean, whatever. But it's really important to remember that these individuals are paid by the alleged predators. They have an invested interest in protecting their client. Survivors don't have PR agents. Unless you're a very powerful, famous, maybe. But most survivors don't have this backing. And see how easy it is to smear a survivor's name